Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got to talk about, well, Star Trek. I'm sorry, but we do, because it's not just terrible. It's being called out by a writer who would actually know something about sci-fi, especially space. Andy Weir says that the Star Trek shows are garbage, and despite that, Paramount rejected his script. I want to talk about this, so here we go. Now, before we get started, just a real quick reminder, I am trying to get to 50K. We are getting closer, but YouTube is doing something weird, so I really need your help. Please do me a favor and double check you're still subscribed. If not, click the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, turn on all notifications, and then make sure you hit the thumbs up button. On top of that, if you wouldn't mind commenting, that'd be great. Once, twice, multiple times, whatever you want to do. But also share this video. I think maybe that will kick something loose in the algorithm. And don't forget to check out the new channel, That Garden Place, as we get more and more videos over there, including one on how to build your very own raised potato beds. And then we're going to plant purple potatoes this week and many other types of potatoes over the course of the next few weeks as spring has arrived and great things are happening. Regardless, let's do this. We're going to look at the story from That Park Place and, of course, Marvin Montanaro. Marvin's doing a great job over there lately. Look at this. On the 29th of March, he writes, Project Hail Mary author claims modern Star Trek shows are duty. Well, it's a little strong, but it's not wrong. I've got to tell you, I agree. I've been thinking this was duty for forever, and I think everybody else would agree. The man behind Project Hail Mary said what a lot of longtime sci-fi fans have been thinking about the Kurtzman era Star Trek, and he didn't sugarcoat a single word. Now, that doesn't surprise me. Andy Weir kind of, has a right to come out and talk about sci-fi. He's written two brilliant films, not just The Martian, but Project Hail Mary, which has gotten rave reviews, and the box office right now, it's the #1 thing out there, and is, to date, in wide release for the year of 2026. Regardless, during a recent interview with critical drinker author Andy Weir took direct aim at modern Star Trek, blasting the current state of the franchise and even revealing that Paramount rejected his own pitch for a new series. What a great guy to talk to, right? Drinker's been incredibly critical and very cynical when it comes to Kurtzman-era Trek. So this makes an awful lot of sense. Andy Weir says modern Star Trek has lost its way. What a great way to describe it. His criticism started with a simple observation, but one that cuts right to the core of what many fans have been saying for years. All modern science fiction TV shows and movies have been heavily influenced by the original Star Trek, except for the current batch of Star Trek shows. There's somebody who's paying attention and somebody who knows. Things have not gone well in the modern era, not just with the updated films, but also with, and especially, the television offerings. I have to tell you, after the success of his Amazon film this last few weekends, I think you should listen to him. I think he's on to something. The current batch we're referred to includes Kurtzman era of Star Trek, starting with Discovery and running through the recently canceled Starfleet Academy, The Search for Ozempic. Okay, maybe I added that last little bit there myself, but it's not wrong. According to Weir, the franchise that helped define modern sci-fi is no longer even following its own blueprint. That's not some random online complaint. That's coming from one of the most successful sci-fi writers working today. He doubled down by explaining the kind of storytelling that he grew up with. And look, this is somebody who was paying attention the whole time. He understands the way that this game works, and he knows that you have to get the science right, and you have to get the story right, and you have to have a hero's journey. That's the only way any of this works. It's why The Martian worked. It's why Project Hail Mary worked. It's why we might even get a sequel, believe it or not. I'm Gen X. So my sci-fi was like original series Star Trek reruns and the Lost in Space reruns. I think those were my tag-ins as well. In other words, Star Trek used to mean something very specific: exploration, adventure, and optimism. Now, even its biggest admirers aren't so sure. Those shows are poo. Weir drops the hammer. If that first quote raised eyebrows, what came next blew the doors off. Weir didn't dance around it. He didn't hedge. He didn't even give a carefully worded industry answer. He just said it. Those shows are duty. Well, he's not sugarcoating it. And he's not wrong. That's his blunt assessment of the modern Star Trek under Alex Kurtzman. And before anyone tries to dismiss this as blind hate, he actually gave credit where he felt it was earned. He says, I like Strange New Worlds, he admitted. I think it's pretty good. Lower Decks, I thought, was entertaining and fun. All the others, they can go. And you know what? That's fine. If he found some enjoyment or something attached to the original series in either of those, well, good for him. I think one of them is basically just a animated version of the Orville and a try-hard situation, but hey, Upper Decker needs to exist somewhere, right? So this isn't a blanket takedown of the entire franchise. It's a targeted critique, and that arguably makes it hit even harder. Paramount rejected his Star Trek pitch, and here's where things got even more interesting. Weir revealed that he actually pitched his own Star Trek series directly to Paramount. He even spent time speaking with a few current creative leadership behind the franchise. They passed. Wow. Hey, that's Rocky, by the way. Doesn't he look cool? I can't imagine anybody that is rational human being looking at the success of the amazing Martian and, of course, the real world, real time success of Project Hail Mary, looking at something that was, being pitched and saying, no, you're not good enough to do our sci-fi thing. Star Trek is, only for those politically aligned. And I'm afraid that's exactly what happened. I pitched Star Trek show to Paramount. They didn't accept my pitch, so F them, he said. That means a highly successful creator who clearly believes in the franchise is going in the wrong direction, had an alternate vision that never saw the light of day because Paramount decided to stay the course with Kurtzman and his identity politics-driven direction. What a disaster. And given the current state of Star Trek, you have to wonder what that pitch looked like. Meanwhile, Star Trek hits a wall. Weir's comments come at a time when Star Trek is in a noticeably uncertain place. There are no current active Star Trek productions underway, which is good, something that hasn't happened in years. Even the future of Kurtzman's leadership is up in the air, with his deal set to expire this year. Wouldn't that be lovely? That's not exactly a franchise firing on all cylinders, and now you've got a major sci-fi voice publicly calling out the direction it's taken. When success talks, people listen, or normally they do, and what makes this different from your typical online backlash is who's saying it. Weir isn't just another critic. He's coming off the success of Project Hail Mary, which is still an active success in theaters, and he leans heavily into classic sci-fi fundamentals: problem solving, discovery, and a sense of wonder. I would say there's a sense of magic in what he's done in the last two films that he's been a part of, and the guy that wrote the adaptation also understood the same things. It's strange when you have people who collaborate and get a big win, and you don't see other people flocking to them to, fix their bad issues. You would think Paramount would want to jump all over that, and yet they're nowhere to be found. What do you think about that? I genuinely want to know. In fact, I'm going to end my comments here and invite you to let me know your comments there. Did you enjoy Project Hail Mary? Do you wish we had something like that in the real-world television application? Do you think a little bit of sci-fi could make its way into Star Trek again? Do you think they were foolish to pass on Andy Weir's pitch? I do. Do you think that there's a chance that, despite that, under new leadership, we may get another shot at Andy Weir and a new Star Trek? I think that would be good, not just for me as a Star Trek fan, but for the overall audience as well. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands because it's good hygiene. And until next time, see ya. Just not watching anything Kurtzman related. Check out that garden place.
Heads up, that garden place is coming at you this week, so make sure you get subscribed early. Thanks. See you next time.